Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the DC Collectibles Batman Arkham Origins Killer Croc. As you can see here, Croc is quite a large figure and he is packaged in a very large box. The box is kind of similar to what we saw with the Arkham Origins 4-pack in that it carries the Arkham Origins theme throughout the packaging. There on the back we see a few other figures offered in this lineup. Let me go ahead and get Croc out of the packaging and we'll take a closer look at him. Alright you guys, so Killer Croc is ginormous. He stands in at 10.5 inches tall and is quite menacing looking. The skull work looks really nice. It looks a lot like what Croc looked like in the Arkham Origins video game. And the paint work on him looks to be pretty good as well. He's a little bit different in appearance from Killer Croc in the Arkham Asylum game. Not necessarily better or worse, just different. Now I do have to kind of hunch him over just a little bit because his feet are a little bit small considering how large he is. And it's a little bit hard to stand, unfortunately, so you do kind of have to hunch him forward a little bit. There is quite a bit of detail on him though, and he looks very nice. From the skin to the bandages to the pants, he's very nicely detailed. Alright you guys, and here's a close-up of Killer Croc. As you can see, there's a lot of really nice detail going on here. The sculpt work that the designers did is just really nicely done on him. There's a lot of nice crocodilian type skin all over his body, and you can see the teeth there on his face. There in the mouth. They sculpted them very, very nicely. They look very predatory. The eyes are also really, really nice. He's got a very reptilian look about him, as he should, and really quite menacing and quite scary. The rest of the body is also done very nicely. Plenty of detail going on there. And for some reason, ever since I was a kid, I've always thought that alligators or crocodiles are kind of neat. But yeah, the paint on him is kind of like a jungle green kind of thing mixed in with more of this cream color. And for the most part, it's painted quite nicely. There's a few little imperfections there, but I mean, all in all, it's pretty good. They did a really nice job on these wraps here on his arms. Really nice work on the bandages. They look really, really good. His hands, he's got this one open hand that looks, quite impressive, and it's got claws on it. Very neat. Fingers are very nicely detailed. Way cool. And then of course his other hand is a little bit more closed. His belt there, he's got a couple of straps just kind of hanging off. I guess these were maybe suspenders or something that broke. And then his pants, kind of similar to what we've seen with Joker figures, which is kind of interesting. Just kind of pinstriped. They're like a purplish kind of brown color. And the stripes in between are more of a lighter purple. And then his feet, again, his feet are kind of small for his, size. I mean, considering how large he is at the upper body, I think his feet could have stood to have been a little bit bigger for more support, because he is a little bit tricky to stand, especially since he has these rocker ankles there. In the way of articulation, Croc has a ball joint here at the head, and he does get a very nice range of movement. You can go side to side, and it is kind of ratcheted. You kind of feel it click in place, but he gets a really good amount of movement there, which is nice. He does have ball hinges here at the shoulders, but there's not a whole lot of movement you're going to get out of him other than up and down. They don't really go out all that much, which is probably a good thing, because you don't want to break it considering how large he is. So they're a little bit stiff. His forearms are also articulated right here, where they can swivel around. He's got a bend at the elbow. He has bend and swivels here at his wrists. He's got an ab crunch there at the abdomen. You can swivel him at the waist. He has a hinging here at his hips, but again, you're not going to get a whole lot of movement out of them. As it is, it looks like they tried to give him a good amount of clearance in here between the legs. That way, you could get a little bit more range of movement. But even so, he's still kind of limited in what he can do. Croc has a hinging here at his knees, and then again he has the rocker ankles
down here. So he's pretty nicely articulated, but, you know, a lot of the joints when I got him out of the packaging were indeed very stiff. So, you know, that is something to be aware of, just because, you know, you don't want to have any problems with him potentially breaking. Here's a side-by-side comparison of the Arkham Origins Killer Croc with the Arkham Asylum Killer Croc. Again, they are quite visually different. There's a lot of detail on both figures. The Origins one is just a smidge taller than the Asylum one. All in all, I think I do prefer the Asylum one. I just think that it looks a little bit more detailed. He just looks a lot meaner. And Killer Croc in Arkham Asylum was very memorable. The way he talked, the way he looked, how huge he was, and all that. And I think they really captured that with his figure. In Origins, he was kind of scaled back a little bit more, not quite as extreme. So all in all, both very solid figures, but I do think that the Asylum one is a better figure. And now looking at the Arkham Origins Killer Croc next to our Arkham Origins Batman, you can certainly see how massive Croc is in comparison to a typical sized Arkham Origins figure. They are quite fun to pose with each other, as they seem to play off each other pretty nicely. But if I were Batman, I certainly wouldn't want to be going up against Killer Croc. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the DC Collectibles Batman Arkham Origins Killer Croc. Overall, I think this is a quite nicely done figure. He does look a lot like he did in the Arkham Origins video game, which, you know, first and foremost to me, aesthetic is the most important thing. He is true to the character in that sense. The coloring on him looks very good. He does look, you know, the same colors as he appeared in the game. Outfit is quite nice. Lots of detail in here, lots of nicely done paint. I really like the way they did the bandages with little traces of blood on his hands, you know, giving it the illusion that he's been in a few fights lately. He's large, he's hulking, he's very articulated. Some of the joints are pretty stiff, and he is a little bit hard to stand. That is a little bit of a drawback for me, considering the fact that the original Killer Croc had, you know, much bigger feet in order to get him to stand. You know, perhaps the sculptors wanted to stay true to the character as he appeared in the video game, but I do think you need to kind of account also for functionality. In this case, they probably should have taken a little bit of liberty just to make him a little bit more stable, because a big figure like this, you don't want falling off his shelf. You know, that's never going to be a good thing. But overall, he's a really nice figure, and I got a steal on this figure. I found him on Amazon for about $16, which is a heck of a price considering that he was MSRPing for, you know, around $30. And shortly thereafter, I actually saw him for just over $11. So if you can get him at a low price like that, you know, don't even question it. Go for him. He's totally worth it considering how large of a figure you're getting and how nicely detailed he is. All right, you guys, so we have some really cool stuff coming for you. So be sure and stay tuned. And as always, thank you for watching Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.